On the Yucatan Peninsula in the southeast of Mexico is a hidden natural wonder full of mystique, legend and mystery. Within the jungle are various entrances into an underwater world, the Cenotes Cave System, a vast subterranean world that extends deep beneath the Yucatan. In the idyllic surroundings of this splendid and carefree underwater world, there's no hint of the violent events that created it. "65 million years ago, a catastrophe of global dimensions transformed the appearance of planet Earth, and it all began here." A meteorite measuring several kilometers crashed just off the Yucatan coast in the Gulf of Mexico. It created a crater measuring 180 kilometers. The openings within the jungle have been created from limestone, which forms the ceiling of the caves. These openings are entrances into a unique habitat. Eventually, a limestone plateau was created. And for a long period of time, the dust that was ejected into the atmosphere shrouded the Earth in darkness. The Cenotes are a large and tangled cave system of amazing proportions, and they contain subterranean connections with the open sea. A few years ago, a number of courageous cave divers started to map this almost inaccessible dark underworld. A very dangerous project upon which to embark. Overgrown by dense vegetation, the remains of an ancient civilization can be seen. Once, the Mayan people inhabited this place. Little light from the outside world enters the uppermost regions, but the light attracts the fish that live here. How did the Cenotes originate? They originated as a reef, but following a drastic change in the water level, they became exposed. Along the edge of the crater, numerous fissures appeared. Rainfall enlarged the fissures in the coral limestone and gradually created a cave system that extended beneath the ocean bed. Experienced cave divers and archaeologists explore the endless labyrinth. And more than 500 kilometres of the groundwater flows of the Yucatan have now been mapped. But this represents only a tiny section of the largest flooded cave system on our planet. Much still remains to be discovered. The name Cenote is derived from the Mayan word Cenot, sacred spring. That is what the Mayan people called the countless small waterholes of this region. Chakmol, the rain god, is located in a petrified jungle close to the former place of sacrifice. The Cenotes have always provided the people who settled in this region with a good supply of fresh water. They've become the life source of the Yucatan, in which there is now rainfall for 2/3 of the year. After the Great Catastrophe, a new era began. The mountain ranges of the eastern Sierra Madre began to rise. The sea level fell, and a land bridge originated. The volcanic highlands of the Yucatan emerged, and below a unique natural wonder was formed, the massive cave system of the Cenotes. A safety line and underwater compass are the only guides back to the surface. A true adventure, but only for the experienced and stout of heart. Flooded tunnels, clefts and caves connect the many cenotes across far distances. The mystic play of both shadow and light creates the feeling of being in an enchanted world. Close to the openings of the upper sections live shoals of fish, and water plants grow in the brightness of the incoming daylight. When looking at the small waterholes, it's difficult to believe that there's such a huge underworld below them. It's also difficult to believe that this inland cave system connects with the open sea. Those who exchange daylight for this watery world dive into the depths and a labyrinth whose dimensions can only be guessed at. Between the many cenotes, there are several subterranean routes, and each one is different from the other. The cave divers always discover something new. The dives often last for several hours and penetrate the deepest areas of the cenotes, a world of constantly plunging depths. After the Ice Age, the sea level rose once more. Salt water penetrated from below into the caves, and from above, the caverns filled with rainwater that became trapped. During millions of years, the groundwater level rose and then sank, so for thousands of years, the caves lay dry. At this time, the incoming water washed the lime out of the porous rock, and dripstones originated that also remained long after the caves became flooded once again. Water has always been synonymous with life. And with religion, water was the central element of Mayan culture. Along an astronomic axis, the Mayans built temples in which to worship the feathered snake, the father of all the gods, and the rain god Chak, who demanded human sacrifice. The facades of many Mayan temples contain the masks of their gods, and threatening stone heads still appear to be eagerly awaiting their sacrifices. Some of the cenotes have their entrances in cast caves on the surface that resemble the flooded caves and demonstrate their origin more clearly. It's only a question of time until the cave ceilings will eventually collapse, thereby leaving entrance holes exposed on the outside surface. Little rain falls in this region, and the small amount that does soon trickles away into the limestone ground. The water produced by the rainfall flows as a wide stream of fresh water through endless tunnels into the sea. Depending on the tidal water level, the cenotes eject fresh water into the sea and draw salt water from the sea into the cave system. From the surface of the Cenotes, there is fresh water to a depth of around 29 meters. The water is crystal clear. At this point, the water density changes, and this is known as the halocline, the dividing line between fresh and salt water. There is also a layer of tanning agents that is produced by the decay of organic matter, such as leaves and tree branches. This layer is also located here. Beneath is salt water, and it's darker, the layer of tanning agents blocking the light. When divers break through the critical halocline, they notice the smell of rotten eggs that penetrates through their masks. The tanning agents and the toxic hydrogen sulfide of the bacteria begin to burn the skin. The dive is becoming increasingly difficult. The high density of the salt water slows down the progress of the divers when they penetrate the halocline. It requires much strength to swim through it. The jungle has overgrown the traces of the Mayan civilization, but beneath its leafy roof, both ruined cities and caves are waiting to be discovered. Hidden and hardly recognizable, the entrances to the caves look like small ponds. But beneath is a world of wonder, the largest flooded cave system in the world, an underwater nature park of the superlative. Today it's incredible to think that this fairy tale world was created by catastrophic events and remarkable freaks of nature. The Mayans often constructed their buildings next to the Cenotes because a reliable supply of drinking water was vital to their cities. Mayan belief was based on fact. In a mystic way, they understood that the entire vegetation of the Yucatan depended on the waters of the Cenotes, the circle of nature. The ruined city of Chichen Itza is the most impressive monument of Mayan culture, a civilization that existed in 2000 BC. The city of pyramids had a mysterious end, prior to when the Spanish arrived in the Yucatan in the 16th century. Since 1923, around 25 buildings of the hundreds more that are covered by dense jungle vegetation have been excavated. The holy springs played an important role in Mayan mythology. Beneath the Earth's surface lay various entrances into a hidden underworld, the sacred springs of Cenotes. This was the dark primeval sea of the afterlife, in which the gods and the ancestors of the Mayans lived. Animals also lived in this afterworld. Indeed, the entire Earth was a living being. Petrified fossils are also to be found here. Embedded in the coral lime are the fossils of primeval sea snails and conch shells. The world tree that supports the sky holds the universe together and provides life to both man and wildlife. Its roots travel deep down into the underworld, from where it drinks the waters of a primeval sea. The Mayan monarchs believed that their ancestors lay at rest within the roots of the world tree. So they made sacrifices to the Cenotes. Their ruling monarchs embodied the incarnated tree of the world. They were travelers between this world and the afterlife, and they saved the cosmic order by the frequent sacrifice of their own blood. The downfall of the Mayan civilization began in Guatemala, and in the 15th century also reached into the city-states of the Yucatan. But due to their myths and culture, they well understood the ecology of their surroundings, and the underwater world of the Cenotes was the continuance of the world above. The Mayan cities now lie abandoned and most of their myths long forgotten. But the underworld of the Cenotes has survived, awaiting new discoveries from within its tantalising depths.